I'm going to say a quick joke because people are harassing me to say a joke. Rasul says, روح القلوب ساعة بعد ساعة. So it's permitted to say jokes as long as you don't lie or say something forbidden. So there was a lady, it's blonde joke, so but I don't want to mention names. So there was a lady who bought this fancy X6 BMW car. And for the whole week, every time she wants to drive the car, she could drive the car during the day, but it would not work at night. And she tried every possible thing that you could think of. Finally, she called the car dealer, and she explained the problems. But the guy said, are you sure this is a problem? Are you sure you are, driving the car properly? She said, of course, what do you think I am? So they send her a technician. The technician comes and checks the car right and left, and everything is working. So he looks at the lady and said, ma'am, are you sure you are switching the gear? And he said, you stupid, whatever. Do you think that I don't know how to drive cars? Of course, during the day I put it on D, during the night I put it on N. That's the joke. Anyhow. طيب, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, wa salatu wa salam ala Sayyid Mursaleen. Those who came late, you missed my wonderful, what do you call it, introduction of our speaker, Sister Maria Khani, who is very well known to our community. My wife always feels very proud and very good after your class because she learns a lot from your class. Jazakallah khair. We would, before we start, thank Mona Lisa, Brother Eid, for sponsoring the food for this event. We also thank the Muslim Ad Network for having an internet ad for Peace Academy where people can donate in the future on this website. Now, without any further ado, we'd like to introduce our speaker, Sister Maria Khani. Sister Maria Khani is a well-known speaker, educator, a winner of several awards. So, Sister Maria.
No problem. My presentation is a very simple presentation. It's like title, verses from the Quran. And I don't have to, say too much because the verses, they speak by themselves. But this ayah in Surah Al-Maryam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us the reason why we have kids. What's the idea of having it? Why do we want to have kids? The purpose is only one. Is to pass them the religion, faith. It's not passing name, giving them money, or being, sometimes we fulfill our dream through our kids. The idea of having kids is passing on the religion and faith. يَرِثُنِي وَيَرِثُ مِنْ آلِ يَعْقُوبَ. And so when we have kids, we want them to be strong, to practice the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. So when you have kids, your purpose of, when you raise them is always to make sure that they're going to have strong faith and they're going to fulfill their role as a Khalifa on earth. Next one, please. It is very important as a parent today, because we don't have the kids with us, to pay attention to what is our roles. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Tahrim, Surah 66, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Protect yourself first and your family from the hellfire. So as a duty and responsibility as a parent, I have to know my rights and their rights, and I have to have the ability to protect them. Building the school, coming to the masjid, it's a way of protecting your kids. And inshaAllah, through my presentation, we will have a better idea. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is holding us accountable. Something to share with you that I 100% always talk about it when I talk about, give a parenting classes. When something happens in the community, we have to go back to those who are in charge, responsible. So sometimes when kids, they do mistakes, yes, we have to correct them, but probably we did something wrong while we were raising them. So one time I was with a group of women and kids, and I remember my daughter said to me, Mom, pay attention to one of the girls. You're going to like what it's written on her T-shirt. And what's written on her T-shirt is, it says, don't blame me, blame my parents. So We have to pay attention to that. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Because you will be responsible, number one, before we hold them responsible. The second one, please. The famous hadith, or two hadiths of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, طلب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم ومسلمة. It is mandatory, right? You know that, those two hadiths. اطلبوا العلم من المهد إلى اللهد. Now in this country, and in many countries around the world, they say learning is a right. And I put it down on my presentation. Is it right or mandatory, or what's the difference? In the United States, they say it is your right to be educated. But when it is your right, it is also your right to give up your right. Right? Too much right. But it is my right to learn. Okay, I can give up my right, and I don't want to learn. So people can do that. But according to the teaching of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, when he said, طَلَبُ الْعِلْمِ فَرِيضَةً, so I can never, ever in my life give up the right of seeking knowledge. And that's why he said, seeking knowledge from the cradle until the grave. The cradle is the message to you and me. Because when the baby is in the cradle, how are we going to teach them? We're going to educate ourselves on how to raise the kids. What is my priority in life? So I'm going to get ready until they grow up. Once they grow up, and I'm going to pass on this information, and they're going to take this information and practice it until they die. That's why Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam said, from cradle to grave. And next one, please. The beginning. We all know that the first ayah was revealed to Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam was Iqra. And we all know the surah, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Very good. Now we have 114 surahs in the Quran. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose this one specifically? Out of the whole surah, he chose the first 5 ayat. Iqra bismi rabbika, it's a message that was given to Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam from the beginning of da'wah, that education will take you to believe in God. When you're going to learn for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is not because you want to learn to make more money, to be famous, to be well known, to fulfill your ego inside of you. Your knowledge and your learning, your education, is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Iqra bismi rabbika. So this information, we have to pass it on to our kids. And who's going to pass on this education? The Muslim. They're not going to be able to find it in a public school, but they're going to learn it when they come to an Islamic school. And we need to emphasize on that. The second one is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked to the angel. And he said, إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. It's ayah 30 in Surah Al-Baqarah. Ayah 31 immediately, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. So he didn't talk about how he created him from clay, dust, whatever the stages. He immediately talked about the importance of teaching Adam knowledge. So education is very important. Those kind of verses that we have to highlight, especially at early age, so kids will, because our job as an educator or parent or teacher is not to force them to learn. No, even if we do that, we're going to fail at the end of the journey. But our job is to implement the love of knowledge. That's what we have to do, so they can seek knowledge everywhere they can go. Priority and knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Muhammad, Surah 47, He said, فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. It is very important to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it so clear that we have to learn about La ilaha illallah. It came in an imperative form, i'lam. What is the first information that I need to learn and I need to teach? That there's only one God, La ilaha illallah. That's the first thing. Where are they going to learn that? Yes, they're not going to learn it in a public school. Alhamdulillah. Excuse me. We have weekend school, and we have here also we have the after-school program. But having a weekday school, learning deen and learning what they have to learn, it's going to be a big things in their life. And sometimes we don't pay attention to those kind of things. That at early age you can implement deen and education without paying attention. The second one ayah is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing that knowledge is very important, because He said it in Surah Al-Zumar, هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who have knowledge and those who don't, they're not equal. They're not. And living in the United States is everything about education. They talk about education. What are the things that empower the United States? And I do believe number one is education. When you are educated, you have shield, you have power, you can do things in life. You can be a positive person. You can be independent. And next one, please. Quran and knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about so many things, and knowledge is one of the things. But if you remember, in Surah Taha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the unique ayah in the Quran that says, وَقُلْ رَبِّي زِدْنِي عِلْمًا, and say, oh my Lord, increase me in knowledge. This is what we have to teach our kids. If you want to talk them about math, science, social study, history, you can implement that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking you every day to increase your knowledge. Who's going to teach this information? Inshallah, your school will be able to teach that. That it is a unique book. The Quran is probably the unique book, the only book that emphasizes about the importance of knowledge. And alhamdulillah, we have this ayah. And in the second one, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the scholars, the educator in the community, they're going to fear Allah. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءُ. So those people, the chosen one, with their education, they're going to understand more Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're going to fear more Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they're going to be more productive in the community. They're going to be more positive in the community because they have the knowledge. And the knowledge was the first thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to Adam alayhi salam. The next one. Besides mercy and priority and increasing, we have something called, mercy and knowledge. Having knowledge by itself is not good. What's the other face or side is mercy. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala combined knowledge and mercy in 2 verses. When the angel talked about him, and when he talked about the teacher of Musa alayhi salam, al-Abdul Salih. And he said, we have given him mercy and knowledge. Because sometimes knowledge by itself can destroy community, can destroy people. If they don't have mercy with that knowledge, it's going to be disaster. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said those 2 things, they're going to go side by side. Who's going to teach that? The Muslim community. The school at early age. So when you have a good grade, as much as you have good grade, you have to have mercy in your heart. Not envy, not jealousy. When you compete with your friends in school, you compete for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not you compete because you want to be the only one. So those kind of values in the Quran, we have to pass them on to our children. The next one, please. Amazing facts. Number 1 is Surah Al-Rahman. We all know. But how many times we read this surah? We read the surah. We're still reading every day. And we paid attention to a very important fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ar-Rahman. The unique name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that comes by itself in the Quran. If you know, every attributes of Allah, they come together. 2, 2, 2. Ghafurun Rahim. Wasi'un Alim. The whole Quran. The one and unique only name that comes by itself besides Allah is Ar-Rahman. And if Ar-Rahman comes, and it does come 5 times in the Quran, it comes only with Rahim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In Surah Al-Baqarah, in Surah Fussilat, in Surah Al-Hashr. And in Surah Al-Naml when it came, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So anytime we have Ar-Rahman, we have Rahim. And sometimes we have only Ar-Rahman. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose this specific surah to start with a specific name, the immediate ayah came, it is not about creating Adam, but he said, Allama al-Quran. So teaching the Quran precedes the creation of the human being. That's a message by itself. That's a message about the importance of learning the Quran. Some scholars say that it refers to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Adam, wallahu a'lam. But anyway, we have it here, that He is the one who taught the Quran and He is the one who created the man. We need to pass on this information, because at early age, when we pass this information on, we're gonna connect our kids at early age with the Quran. And that's the purpose of having an Islamic school. So you can be famous, you can be a scholar, and you can have the information of the Quran all the way. Year by year, we will emphasize on that. Then we come back to the same surah, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. Did you pay attention that the word اقرأ came 2 times? The word علم came 2 times. And then we have the pen. This is the first revelation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasized the importance of teaching, learning, reading, of course writing with a pen. It's a very funny thing that you ask members of the community, oh, I need to write your number. Can I borrow your pen? How many times we hear that? Can I borrow your pen? If you are a Muslim, you should have a pen in your purse or in your pocket, because the first revelation talked about the pen, and the 4th surah was revealed to Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam after Iqra, after al-Muddathir and Muzammil came Noon wal qalami wa ma yasturun. So there's a big thing. Imagine I'm teaching kindergarten and 1st grade, and I'm asking them, what is the first thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created? They're going to talk about heaven and earth and Adam. And I'm going to say to them the hadith of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, when he said he created the pen and he asked the pen to write. He revealed a surah about a pen. So I'm connecting in their mind knowledge, God, education. Write and read with your pen. The next one, please. So we come to some questions. And those are very common questions. We will try to cover some of those questions, inshallah, in my presentation, if not all of them. But some of them are questions for you to answer. Okay, the next one, please. You know this famous hadith? Everybody knows that hadith. Okay? إِذَا مَاتَ ابْنُ آدَمَ. The hadith came in 2 ways. إِذَا مَاتَ الْإِنسان, the human being, or إِذَا مَاتَ ابْنُ آدَمَ. It doesn't matter. إِذَا مَاتَ ابْنُ آدَمَ. So when a person dies, a believer dies, he's not going to be able to do anything for the hereafter. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with His mercy, through His messenger, He taught us that, yes, if you do 3 things while you're alive, in your book, the angel will continue writing good deeds about you if you do one of those 3 things, or if you do all of them. So number 1 is what? Sadaqatun jariyah. Jariyah means running. And most of the time, at least in my country where I grew up in Syria, when I grew up in Syria, I thought that sadaqah jariyah should be done after people die. But that's not the idea. If it's done after their death, the inherited, the kids, the family, it will be in their record. So we have to do it when we are alive. When the money in my pocket, I have to do sadaqah jariyah. Not after I die and I don't care about the money. They have to do sadaqah jariyah in my name. So we have to do it today, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us life and money. So sadaqah jariyah. Of course, the masjid and the school is a big sadaqah jariyah. And if you teach, you're probably going to be able to do the 3-in-1. So opening a school is sadaqah jariyah, ilmun yuntafa'u bihi, and then waladun salihun yad'u lahu. So you can have, they say 2 birds in 1 stone. I'm giving you the chance to hit 3 birds in 1 stone. And not any birds. We're talking about deeds in the day of judgment. So if you have a sadaqah jariyah, if you have an education, knowledge that people can pass on, can benefit, and then you have someone, kids, Whether your own kids, wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah, whether they are your kids, or maybe you are a teacher teaching in this, those kids can pray for you. You never know. So this is a big chance to have a sadaqah jariyah, ilmun yuntafa'u bihi, or waladun salih. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to achieve those three things. Next one, please. This is kind of an important thing to notice, that sometimes we have people very successful in life, mashallah, at work, in the outside environment, but we don't see them often in the masjid. They don't come to the masjid. They're not involved in the masjid, okay? But they're doing great outside of the masjid. You might ask one of them, do you have a masjid in your community? Yeah, I think so, but I'm not sure. I've never been in a masjid. Do you ask them sometimes, do you pray? Yeah, sometime, inshaAllah. Inshallah, when I have the chance, I'll do it. Yani, but I'm not regular person who perform the prayer. And sometimes we have people so much dedicated to the masjid. They pray 5 times in the masjid. They come to Salat al-Taraweeh. They volunteer a lot. But if you ask about their life outside in the non-Muslim community, nobody knows about them. They never did anything, okay? Nobody benefits from their knowledge. They're not positive. They're not active. They're just people who go to work, come back in the afternoon or late at night, get their salary by the end of the month, and that's it. But that's not the role of the Muslim Ummah. You should be active in the masjid, in the Muslim community, as you have to be active outside. If you go back to the previous years, and I'm not sure if any of you went to Los Angeles Science Museum last year when they hosted the 1001 Islamic invention. How many of you went and visited? Few hands. But I worked there. I volunteered and I work every Friday to help people to answer some questions. And I was surprised to hear people saying, the Muslims today, are they related to the Muslims in the past? And I said, yes. Unfortunately, we are the same Muslims. But I'm not sure exactly what happened to us. But sometimes I was crying over there because the thing that they did in the 11th century, you know, and 10 and 11, 1100, 1000, 1100 and 1200, the thing that Muslims accomplished, the contribution that they gave to the world is an amazing thing. Amazing. The woman who opened, it was a woman who opened the first university. It was a woman. They kept coming back and forth asking me, are you sure? I said, yes, I'm sure. This is fact. You are in the Science Museum of LA. It's a fact. What happened to those Muslims? They were so into the religion and so into life. They were talented. They were seeking education. Do you know that today, when our kids graduate from high school or college, what do they wear? They wear the overgarment, the thing, you know. Do you know the tradition, the story behind the garment? What is it? Cap and gown, whatever you want to call it. Did you know that it came from us hundreds of years ago? People in Europe used to send their student to a Muslim country to learn, get education, get a BA, and come back to Europe. Wearing that, it was the tradition. He will wear or she will wear the out uniform, the gown, to show that I attended a school, I was in a Muslim school. That's the logo. That's the thing that showed that my son went to an Islamic school and he got a degree. Today we're so into going to Harvard University, UCLA, USC, UCI, whatever. What happened to us? Why now we travel all the way to get education here and not bringing them to us? Something happened. And we need to fix that. At least we're here. and we can bring that to us, to the history of Muslims in the United States. So what we're trying is to find that maybe we can get successful people in the Muslim community, active in the masjid, making khutbah, volunteering, doing stuff, and at the same time, they're very famous. Maybe one of those students will be someone who will come up with a cure for cancer, discover something. We want those kids who are so much involved in the Muslim community to be much involved in the outside community. Not only here and there. And that's the message of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. That's the message when he used to send his people outside of, Mus'ab bin Umair, the first ambassador to Medina. He was a young man. Mus'ab bin Umair died in Uhud. He was probably 22, 23 when he died in Uhud. He was the first teacher in Medina. His nickname was Muqri al-Medina. He was teaching the people in Medina Quran. He was young, very young. He learned more than one language. Rasulullah ﷺ said, you have to learn more than one language. You have to be educated about the people in Medina, because people in Medina, they had the Ansar and they had the Jews. So if you want to have someone to present Muslims, you need someone like who speaks English, French, Spanish, and German, whatever, and Arabic, and Urdu. So empower them as much as you can, because that is the message of Islam. The next one, please. Raising leaders. Now here we have a little bit problem, because sometimes we don't raise leaders. We raise more followers. But those followers, they fight so much to be leaders. That's why we have problems in our community. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't send us Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, and He gave us the Quran, so we don't understand exactly what's the teaching of the Quran. So it's very important to know that we have to raise boys and girls the same way. Now this is kind of a cultural things, but Islamically they have both the right to learn. طلب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم ومسلمة. He said it himself, male and female. Okay, so we have to educate both of them. They have the same chance. We have to invest in both of them. And then sometimes when we raise them, we raise that your job is to stay home, to take care of the house, okay? And your job is to go outside and make the money. That's not the teaching of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Because if you go back, you will learn that he was doing the da'wah, taking care of the message, while Khadija radiallahu anha was a businesswoman taking care of the house, the money, the business. So it doesn't matter who's taking care of who, as long as we are working together and we're doing what we're supposed to do. So when we teach them those values in Islam, we teach them that they have to be somebody in the future, male and female. And I do hear sometimes girls saying that, well, I got my degree, but I'm not doing anything with my degree. It's like hanging on the wall in my kitchen. Oh, Jazakallah khair, barakallahu fiki, thank you so much. But that's not the purpose. Why did you get education? No, to hang the certificate on the wall? We don't want that. We want you to learn something so it will be, you will be productive, you will be positive, you'll be using this information. So it is very important when we raise our kids to tell them that any education you're going to seek, you will be able to use it in the future. May not be at the beginning, maybe later on, but something beneficial, something that the community needs from you. What's the need in the community? A very common question that I ask high school students, unfortunately Muslims, when I say to them, what is your target in the future? 90% they don't have an answer. We don't know. Oh, mashallah, you're in high school, you're senior year, and you don't know what you're going to do. Bismillah, mashallah, tabarakallah. Okay, we have a problem. So you have to teach at early age what to look for. What is the need of your community? What is you want? What do you want to do? And I remember one time I went to a masjid and I gave a lecture to elementary grades, and one of the students raised his hand and said, I want to be a doctor so I can make money. I said, oh, mashallah. Okay, that's good, but that's not the target. you make money, what you gonna do? He said, I'm gonna buy a fancy car. And I said, okay. Inshallah, you can fulfill your dream. But being a doctor, so you can cure more people, so you can help people, so you can do something. But making money, no. Money is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to put them on the straight path so they know why they're seeking education. It's not because, oh, I have to go to school. No, I have to go to school because I'm practicing Islam. I want to get education because اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. I'm doing it for the sake of Allah. I'm doing it to serve more humanity. I'm doing it because I'll get more good deeds. Not because I'm going to make money. No, that's not the teaching of Islam. So we have two ayat. Why do we raise followers in our community? Because we took one ayah in Surah Al-Imran when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if you love me, then say to them, they have to follow you. Definitely yes. When it comes to deen, ibadah, worship, we have to follow Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam 100%. No problem with that. I can't bring something new to my religion. Okay, I can't add or take off. But when it comes to raising a human being in life, I have to apply the second ayah in Surah Al-Furqan. وَالَّذِينَ قَالُوا رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَاجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. This is where you have to raise leadership inside of them. That you're praying that among your spouses and your kids, you will have leaders. It's a big difference. So followers, when it comes to the sunnah, the ibadah, the worship, but in life skills, you have to raise them as leaders. So they can feel proud of what they're doing, that they can do something to their society and community. The final request is a very important one. This is to me, it's a very scary ayah. It came in Surah Al-Munafiqun. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that there will be a wish, one wish, besides another wish that people wish that they will say to the angels, don't take our soul right now. رَبَّنَا أَخِّرْنَا. Okay. In this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that when the angels are coming to take the soul of the person, what the person is wishing, the person, if he can go back, or if he had paid more sadaqah. So, spending money for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very important. If you remember in Surah Al-Kahf, that we read every Friday, okay? What is the last ayah in Surah Al-Kahf? The last ayah summarized the whole teaching of Surah Al-Kahf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ فَمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو لِقَاءَ رَبِّهِ فَلْيَعْمَلْ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا وَلَا يُشْرِكْ بِعِبَادَةِ رَبِّهِ أَحَدًا. Say, if anyone wants to see the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let that person do righteous work, amal salih. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say in this ayah, let that person fast or pray or go to Hajj. He said, amalun salih, regardless of who's going to benefit from that amal. That's why every ayah in the Quran talks about إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. This is an amal salih. We have to support that amal salih. And amal salih will not only be amal salih without having, foundation. And foundation needs money. And money needs your pocket. And your pocket means that we have to contribute. We have to do something in order to see that work, inshaAllah. The following ayat, jihad. Now the word jihad in the United States is a very negative word. Okay, you can't say jihad and be happy or have a smiley face on your face when you say the word jihad. Absolutely not. But in reality, it's a very positive word. And every ayah in the Quran, it talks about jihad. Money came first. Then so, وَجَاهِدُوا بِأَمْوَالِكُمْ وَأَنفُسِكُمْ. Because jihad in the Quran does not mean taking a sword and fighting someone. That in the Quran came, وَقَاتِلُوا. Jihad is not fighting. Jihad is striving. Striving for a good cause. And you may not think about it, money as a striving. But in reality, it's a big thing. I usually ask people for donation to support people in the community, and because I work with Access, I always. So people fear sometimes to see me because they say, oh, every time we see Maria, she's going to ask for money. And I say, no, not always. 90% of my time I do ask for money. But I can see the reaction when I ask for people money. Wow, like I'm asking to give me your soul. And I always say, but go back to the Quran and again and say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, give your money first. Then you can give me your soul. But money is important. Why money is important? Because it's a fact. Al-malu wal-banuna zinatul hayatul dunya. In this ayah, in Surah Al-Kahf, also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, money and children. SubhanAllah, we don't think it this way. But in reality, we do care a lot about money. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if you want to strive for the sake of Allah, then give money. Your struggle is in money. Jihad is a struggle, is to strive for a good cause. And money is a big issue in that. And we have to make sure that we do jihad in money. Next one. Now, sometimes we don't pay attention. We think that we have to work so hard to bring money. I have kids. I want them to go to a good school. I want to, secure their future. I want to do. So you drive, you eat, you go to work, you come back, and what's in your mind? How I'm going to secure my kids' future. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say that to you. He said, don't worry about money. وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقَكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ. You know the famous hadith of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, when a woman is pregnant, the angel will come down and breathe into her womb 4 things, the soul of the baby, when he's going to die, shaqiyun am sa'id, and then one of the things is rizq. So before I was born, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote down how much I'm going to make. And rizq, it doesn't mean only money. How many languages I'm going to learn? It's rizq. How many country I'm going to live in? It's rizq. How many outfit I'm going to wear? It's rizq. Everything. How many meal I'm going to eat? It's all about rizq. And that is written. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's job. What is my job? My job is not to do what's Allah's job. It's Allah's going to do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will fulfill His job. My job is to take care of my kids. My job is to take care of my community. My job is to make sure that my kids do pray. Because in the following ayah in Surah Taha, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Rasulullah, وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَاصْطَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا. Order your family to pray and do extra, be more patient. And then he said to him, لَا نَسْأَلُكَ رِزْقًا. We are not asking you to provide them. You have to work. Hajar radiallahu anha, Ibrahim's wife, she kept going back and forth that we call today sa'i, from Safa and Marwa. Why she was going back and forth? Searching for help, for water. Where the water came, not in the Safa, not in the Marwa, and not in between. It came under a hopeless human being, a baby. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us, you have to do the sa'i, and I will provide you with the thing. So don't worry about the money where you're going in the sa'i. It's Allah's job. So sometimes you might have so many, 2 BAs, 3 degrees in master, a PhD, and you don't have a job, right? And sometimes you don't have any degree, but mashallah, you have a good job and you make good money. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the provider. So my job and your job is to take care of each other, to take care of our kids, to teach them the right and the wrong things, and leave Allah's job to Allah's work. He will fulfill. He will provide. So don't worry too much about money. Worry about, did I teach them? Did I help them to be better Muslims? Did I teach them to care about humanity, to find a good cause in life, to fulfill their work as a Khalifa on earth? This is what I have to worry about. The next one, please. Now, keep in mind, we want them to be successful. But most of the time when we teach our kids, we teach them that, inshaAllah, in the hereafter, inshaAllah, in Jannah. You pray so in Jannah you're going to get. You fast so in Jannah. So sometimes they come to me and they say, Khali, what do I have in life? Do I have to be miserable in order to get everything in Jannah? And I said, no, that's not the teaching of Islam. The teaching in Islam came in Surah Al-Qasas, Surah 29, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, yes, you have to work so hard to get the hereafter, but never ever in your life forget this life. And the quote that I have from Imam Ali radiallahu anhu, this is one of the amazing quote. Sometimes you might read it as it was said by Aisha radiallahu anha. It doesn't matter. If it's Aisha or Imam Ali, we honor both of them, and the saying is amazing. And this is a great success is in, we want them in both, in this life and the hereafter. And he said it 1500 years ago. He said, knowledge is your way for the success in this life and for success in the hereafter, and for both. So if I can teach my kids, you want to go to heaven? Show me A's. How many times we made this connection? We don't. I don't think in public school they do that. You want to go to heaven? Get an A+, and the angel will write down in your book A. It's fact. These are facts. If you want to be next to Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam in heaven, try to find a cure for cancer. If you want to be talking to Musa alayhi salam, take care of the environment. This is how we have to connect. This is the power of the Quran. This is the knowledge that, in my opinion, should not be only for Muslims. It should be for Muslims and non-Muslims, because they can benefit from that. They will have a bigger cause. Education will not only be an education because it's a right and I have to do it and it will bring me money in the future. Education is to bring the best in you, and people around you will benefit from your education. The next one. So we come to 3 more questions, which is the most important questions. What do we need to do as a community? That's number 1. How we can get support, dedicate, plan. And the third one is never ever minimize any work. Everything counts. The mountain is only a group of small pebbles. Yes, the next one, please. So probably you share that. Maybe I'm not sure if I have the accurate information, but this is about an overview about your community, which I got from you. That we have, mashallah, about 60 family who attends academy, Peace Academy, mashallah. We have 100 students. We have about 200 people who go to the Jum'ah prayer, mashallah. And the families, they feel that there is a need to have an Islamic school. So inshallah, we will have an Islamic school. And those are kind of information about the future school, the principal, right? Thank you for being the principal of our school. And then they're taking care of the curriculum and then taking care of everything, and they are ready to go. Yeah. Melanie, raise your hand again. Thank you. Okay, the next one, please. So what do we need to do? We have 3 things. As a community, we have to do to support the vision and the mission of the school. It is so important to support. Even if you don't have kids, your support counts. It's so important to support. You can talk about today's event, talk about the school from now until September, and trying to find people who can support you. So that's as a community. Raise awareness and establish activity that will continue supporting the school, not only this year, because they need you for the next 2 decades or more. As a member, you can be one of the 3, or you can be 3. You can be a volunteer, an advocate, or a contributor. So you can give money, you can give time, inshaAllah. As a leader in the community, which is a big responsibility, the leader, the imam of the masjid, whoever comes on a Friday here, I'm not sure if you have a Friday or not, but is the link between the needs of the community and the needs of the school. And during his lectures or khutbah, he can bring that. And the leader of the community also should dedicate certain people to follow up to see what's the need, because his job is not to see the need, but he can dedicate certain people to report to him And I think number 3 is very important. Every once in a while, the imam, the leader, needs to remind the community that we have a school, we need you to support. Okay? So those are the 3 things. The next one, please. You need money? Oh, trust me, it's no problem. It is a problem? No, it's not. In my opinion, it is a problem only when we don't do anything. But once we do something, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to bless your work and bring you money. مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبْ. You will not know from where money is going to come. But the job is not for you only to think about, I need money, I need money, I need money. What are you doing in order to get the money? I pray. Wallahi, we all pray. If I pray 24/7, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, send me money, He's not going to, open the ceiling and send me dollars or whatever. No, it's not going to happen this way. He's going to wait until I do something. And once He sees my sincere heart and my continuous work, wallahi, money is going to come. And I've seen it because I can share that. My mother back home, she has one of the largest non-profit organizations. And I've seen how people will donate. All you have to do is just put in effort. Remember the story of Hajj. We go every year to Hajj to remember that. You do the sa'i, okay? You have to go 7 times. The same place. Don't say, oh, I knocked on the door once, it's enough. 7 times. And then the money will come, inshaAllah. So we have too many things in our community. We have too many masajid, mashallah. We have too many schools. We have too many non-profit organizations. And we don't know who we're going to give. It's not about who you're going to give. It's what are you doing? Okay? So always keep in mind, it's not about the money. It's about what are you doing. So here I'm sharing few ideas. You can come up with better ideas. This is your job. But as we have here people sitting with us, so I came up with a few ideas and I post on the wall papers with the name of a topic. And I'm going to pass on those markers. I am a teacher, so I always use school material. And I love to do that. But for every project, I really would like to see you standing, writing your name on one of those papers. Why I want you to do that? Because I'm going to be honest. And when I'm honest, you're okay, right? On the day of judgment, I am taking this lecture with me to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm going to say to Him, I came to their community and I gave my presentation and I gave them ideas. And they came here because they want to do something. And they did. They wrote their name. I don't know what they did after that. But it's between them and you. So don't hold me accountable. Because to me, being accountable is a major thing. So, number 1, we have a table. And every table, you can come up with a plan to raise an amount. Write your name down on the wall. And say that this table, 1, I'm counting myself here, we're 5. Those 5 ladies, they're going to come up with probably $100 by the end of June. They're going to take their phone number, exchange. They're going to have one person in charge of this table to make sure that, we raised $100. This table, وَفِي ذَلِكَ فَلْيَتَنَافَسُ الْمُتَنَافِسُونَ, they're going to compete. So you're going to raise 100? Oh, we're 5 women. We're going to raise $500. The gentlemen over there, they're going to compete with both of us. You want 100, 500? We 3 men. الرجال قوامون على النساء. They are in charge. You're going to raise 500 and 100. We're going to raise 800. I'm sorry? It is with the money. So the idea, you may not pay $1. I am not asking you to give me the 500 from your pocket. I'm asking you to work for 3 months, 2 months, to ask people around, give me a donation. And I'm collecting this donation for a good cause. This is the planning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants it. Because in the mind, most of the time we think that I came to a fundraising, I need to come up with $1,000 and put it. No, not always you can do that. I can understand. I know my community. But I can understand that if you dedicate yourself to come up with the money and you compete with other tables, you will be able to do it. So that's plan number one. The second plan, every family in the community, and it's doable and you can do it. And I learned that from a non-Arab woman. She became a Muslim years ago, but she taught me something when I was working with non-profit organization. She said to me, Maria, when you go shopping, how do you shop? And I said, what do you mean by that? She said, I'm asking when you pay. So if you buy grocery and it's like $25.69, how would you pay that? And I said, I will give, if I have change, I will give change. If I don't, I'll give 60. She said, I'm going to teach you something. Every time you go and it's like 25 and 69 cents, always give 26. Don't give coins. And I said, why? She said, just try it for 1 month. No matter where you are, don't give coins. Always give an extra $1. Collect the coins and come back to my organization after 1 month. And I did it. And that was like 16 years ago, 15 years ago, and it's still in my house. Sometimes my son wants to take the coin, and we have a fight, a funny fight. But I learned that for so many years, and I always save like $200 and $300 without paying attention. Can you do that between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the member of their family? Dedicate that for the next year, for the next 6 months, for whatever. I'm going to write my name that my family will never give coin to anybody. We will give $1. And we're going to keep on saving in the cookie jar and collect this money for the cause of Peace Academy. Can you do that? Of course you can do that. The next one. The next one on the... We're not done yet. Okay, the next one is member of the community. We have youth, we have women, we have men who are so into technology and Google and internet. Can we come up with a committee that people can search what type of activities I can come up for, fundraising? How can I get fund? The computer is filled with information. So it's very easy for you just to Google, get information, and pass on this information to the masjid and to the school. As for women, I think women, they like to do that. So I'm going to encourage them. Number one is coffee clutch. I did it for 2 years. And then I stopped because I was so busy. But I opened my house once a month. A Tuesday, the second Tuesday of the month, whatever you choose of the month, it will be a coffee clutch. Meaning I am not serving food, I'm serving only coffee. And either I bring a speaker, sometimes for women, someone who will teach them an Italian dish. Sometimes I will give a lecture. Sometimes we decide to read a book, and we read a book in like a book club, whatever. And whoever comes, it's like a gathering. They pay $5 for the coffee. And for 1.5 years, I rotated to a different city, and women opened. They loved it because women, they love to gather and talk and whatever. And I was able to help so many families with their rent through the coffee clutch. We paid rent because you don't pay attention. That $5 every month, in your opinion, it's not too big. But to me, it's a big deal. And subhanAllah, sometimes people give $25 for the coffee. Sometimes people give a check. So some people give $5. Can you do that? Of course. Sign your name. So I'm giving you ideas that you can do. The next one is that plan some activities in the summer. So we have June and 2 weeks in July. You can do a barbecue, hot dogs and a hamburger. And you can invite the community. They can pay $15 for the picnic, whatever, and the money will go to the masjid or to the school. We're talking about PA. I'm not sure about your Friday. Do you serve people in the community after they pray Jumu'ah? But if you have 200 people coming to the masjid to pray, a small falafel sandwich or whatever, beef sandwich or anything that you can make, women love to cook, Make sure that you have a schedule for the month of May and cook and bake, sell it and make money. Give money to the masjid and money to your school. The last one, before we talk about including, the last one is very important, is that you can contribute a monthly payment, whatever you can do. But I'm saying double your zakat. How often we think about it? The zakat is 2.5. For every $100, I need to pay $2.50. Subhanallah, it's nothing. Can I make this year my zakat 5%? I can. We can do that. I was talking earlier today about why we see the Christian community and the Jewish community more committed to their house of worship sometimes more than us. You know why? Because they pay 10% of their income to be a member of the church. If you want to be a member of the church and bring your kids to a family day, be a part of the community, you should donate 10% of your income to the church. Alhamdulillah, we don't have that. Everybody is welcome. You don't need to donate anything to the masjid. But I'm asking only for the 1 year to make your zakah 5%. If all of us here today take that, the 5% for the year 2012, 2013, you're going to see amazing changing in the community. And that's so important, and it's doable. 5%, wallahi, we can do that. And wallahi, we will be so proud on the Day of Judgment that we did that as a community. Make sure to include your kids in any activities you do. They are so good with ideas, so good to, talk to people, because it's going to be their school. Even if they don't come to the weekly school, they can still come up with a great idea and help you to support the school. My final words is a hadith of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wassalam. إن الله في عون العبد ما دام العبد في عون أخيه. And I'm going to tell you my personal experience about that hadith. When a friend of mine died long time ago of cancer, her kids, my kids, and her 2 sister kids, they were about 15 kids. She was dying, I was there visiting. And the 15 kids, they went across the street to play in the park. It was time for me to leave. And I said, okay, I'm leaving. So I hope that the other 2 sisters, or at least one of them, will come with me down the street to look for the kids in the park. But one of them said something to me that puzzled me when I was in the elevator. She said, Allah ya'ainak. May Allah help you. Okay, that's a good thing, but I need you to be with me. I mean, God will help me, definitely, I have no doubt. But I need you to be there with me, looking for 15 kids, boys and girls. So while I was going down, subhanallah, and I went out, the 15 kids, they were crossing the street, coming to the building. And I said, she was right, and I was wrong. When she made her dua, she was sincere, okay? For whatever reason, she couldn't leave her sister. But when I was going down, I said, I really need the help. And I did ask. That was her response, Allah knows best. So he brought me the 15 kids without doing anything. So as long as you're helping, I came to help her sister who was dying. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring people to help you. But do something. We have to do something in order to get something. So remember, as long as you live, your community needs you. And you will be responsible for that in the Day of Judgment. Of course, don't look at what people are doing or not doing, because we're so easy to look, oh, she's not doing anything. Oh, he's not doing anything. It's not about what they do or don't. It's about what are you doing. And what you're doing, keep in mind always the hadith of Rasulullah. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ إِذَا عَمِلَ أَحَدُكُمْ عَمَلًا أَن يُتْقِنَهُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the one when he does his work, he or she, to does it with perfection in the best of your ability. So make sure you do that. And then keep in mind, you are the past and you are the present. But they are the present and they are the future. So we have to look at our future. And my last advice is be responsible, persistent, and committed to your community. Jazakumullahu khair. And before I finish, I really would like you to take a pen. This is between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُبَايِعُونَ اللَّهَ يَدْ فَوْقَ أَيْدِيهِمْ. If you committed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're putting your hand in the hands of Allah and He will help you, inshaAllah. So please, write your name on the wall and be committed. جزاكم الله خير.
الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر كبيرا والحمد لله كثيرا وسبحان الله بكرة وأصيلا الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر كبيرا والحمد لله كثيرا وسبحان الله بكرة وأصيلا